Generative AI models.
The rise of generative AI through neural networks.
We see a group of researchers huddled around a computer screen. They are discussing the latest breakthrough in generative AI.
Have you seen the latest results? The neural network is generating amazing content.
But, how is it different from the previous approaches we used?
Neural networks learn the rules from the existing data. We don't need to explicitly craft rules anymore. We can feed them data, and they can generate content on their own.
Plus, the neural network can scale to solve larger problems.
But, what about the earlier arguments made by Marvin Minsky and others?
Hardware has improved since then. We can now implement neural networks in a way that solves some of the earlier problems.
And, we can run neural networks in parallel across graphic processing units, GPUs, which enables us to solve even bigger problems.
I see. So, what are some of the techniques you've been using to generate content?
We've been using generative adversarial networks, GANs, variational autoencoders, VAEs, and diffusion models.
Those techniques have been groundbreaking. We've been able to generate images, music, and even text using those techniques.
I can't wait to see what else we can do with generative AI using neural networks.
Navigating the pitfalls of generative AI.
We see the same group of researchers huddled around a computer screen, but this time they are discussing the potential pitfalls of generative AI.
As much as we are excited about the possibilities of generative AI, we need to be cautious about the biases and other problematic elements that can be encoded into the training data.
Yes, we need to ensure that the data we use for training is diverse and representative of all communities.
We also need to be mindful of the techniques we use to transform raw data into vectors. These techniques can encode biases, racism, deception, and puffery.
Once we've settled on a representation of the world, we can apply a particular neural network to generate new content in response to a query or prompt.
What are the problematic techniques that we use to generate content?
Generative adversarial networks, GANs, and variational autoencoders, VAEs, are some of the techniques that we've used to generate realistic human faces, synthetic data for AI training, or even facsimiles of particular humans.
We can also use these techniques to generate text by transforming raw characters into sentences, parts of speech, entities, and actions, which are represented as vectors using multiple encoding techniques.
I see. So, how can we ensure that the content generated by these techniques is not biased?
We need to ensure that the training data is diverse and representative of all communities. We also need to be mindful of the techniques we use to transform raw data into vectors, and ensure that they don't encode biases.
That's a big responsibility, but I'm excited about the possibilities of generative AI and its potential to transform the world.